When I was furiously scolding the scumbag on the phone, I carelessly damaged the green plants on the balcony. The next day, the school bully posted a wanted notice on various school platforms. Who pulled out the thorns on my cactus? And even stuck them all on my succulent. Who pulled out the thorns on my cactus? The picture was a bald cactus. After casually scrolling through this wanted notice on the confession wall, I immediately did a carp jump and sat up in shock from my sickbed. Yesterday, while walking and scolding the scumbag on the phone, I passed by the boys' dormitory and carelessly damaged the green plants on the first floor balcony. But I left my contact information and said I would compensate. It's probably that the note was blown away by the wind. Damn. It's good that it was blown away. Who knew that the green plant belonged to school bully Ezra H? With trembling hands, I commented under the confession wall. Just a passerby. Thorns on cacti seem to fall off naturally. Condolences. I'm just a passerby. Ezra H quickly replied. Then are the thorns stuck on the succulent next to it also naturally grown? The picture was a succulent covered with cactus thorns. Immediately, many onlookers appeared in the comment section and spoke up indignantly. The current social atmosphere is declining and people's hearts are not as they used to be. So pitiful yet so funny. How could someone do such a heartless thing? Yuck. This pervert can't be from our college. Right. Oh my. My succulent was placed next to yours. It must have been damaged too. I curse this pervert to fail their finals. Even an uncle can bear it. But an aunt can't bear it. I angrily typed, "You're talking nonsense." Last night, I saw clearly that there was only one succulent. The rapidly growing comment section suddenly became quiet. And I received a friend request. Note, Ezra H. I thought that it wouldn't be a big deal to cut out and admit my mistake. So I took a deep breath and was about to accept it. Suddenly, my roommate on the lower bunk said, "Have you all eaten this melon?" Someone even dared to damage Ezra H's cactus. I heard that Ezra H threat to catch the person who mercilessly damaged the flowers and stick the pulled out thorns on that person. It's so funny. The others in the dormitory all started laughing. They looked at me in confusion. Why aren't you laughing? I was completely dejected. I don't laugh because I just don't like to laugh by nature. How dare I accept this friend request? I quickly put my phone face down and prayed online that as long as I didn't accept it, he wouldn't be able to find me. But who could have guessed that Ezra H took my account and asked everyone in the agricultural college and found out my name and class. On this day, I was in a botany class. I yawned in my peripheral vision, met a pair of dark and unfathomable eyes outside the window. I saw Ezra H leaning against the corridor. His cool and handsome face was full of anger as he folded his arms and stared straight at me. It was like coming to claim my life. I was so scared that I was startled. I quickly shifted my gaze. And immediately cold sweat broke out. Before I had time to think, the bell rang for the end of class. What should I do? What should I do? The old professor said, "Okay. Class is over." Quickly thinking of a plan, I rushed to the podium and said earnestly, "Teacher, I have some questions to discuss with you." The old professor showed a gratified look and nodded. "Okay. Come with me to the office." I nodded hastily. When I went out with the old professor, I hid beside him. Extremely cowardly. Unexpectedly, Ezra H followed. He moved from the classroom door to the office door, and continued to stare at me as if claiming my life. I slowly wiped the sweat off my forehead. The old professor was drinking tea and asked me, "What problem do you have? Speak up." I was silent for a minute and asked, "Can walnuts that have been pinched by a door sill nourish the brain?" His expression was very displeased. "This classmate. Please be serious." I glanced out the window. Ezra H waved at me expressionlessly. Damn. Why is he still here? Seeing that the old professor was starting to pack up and prepare to go home. Wouldn't I be doomed if I went out now? What should I do? What should I do? The phone on the table lit up. After the old professor read it, he sent a voice message. "I know. I know. I'll be back for dinner soon." I grabbed the professor's sleeve. Teacher. I'm hungry too. Professor. The next day. I carefully went to class but didn't see Ezra H. Could it be that he has let me go? Before I could breathe a sigh of relief, my roommate sent me a message asking me to quickly look at the confession wall. I had a bad premonition. I hurried over and saw on the confession wall a selfie of Ezra H. He was holding scissors and aiming at my final project, the little tomato seedlings. And it was accompanied by a caption, Classmate Gi Tel from Modern Agriculture Class 172. You have half an hour to rescue your final project. The posting time was 25 minutes ago. I immediately took off and ran crazily towards the vegetable garden. That day, my desperate sprint even made it onto the campus gossip website. Some people spread rumors that I was running towards love. No, I was trading my life for my little tomato's life. I ran like crazy to reach there. When I arrived, Ezra H. was squatting in front of my little tomatoes and was reaching out to poke that fragile flower. I slammed on the brakes and stretched out my King's hand. Don't touch it. Ezra H. looked over leisurely. Why aren't you hiding anymore? I put my hands together and sincerely apologized. I'm sorry. He sneered. If apologies were useful, what would the police be for? I hold grudges. You killed my Maya. So I'll kill your baby. Passing students cast indescribable glances at us. What's wrong with you? Who names their cactus Maya for no reason? Seeing that he picked up the scissors again, I was shocked. Wait. I can cure it. He paused. I continued. Your cactus's thorns were already falling off. At first glance, it's sick. I'm majoring in this. I can cure it for you. Ezra H. was skeptical but still put down the scissors. My suspended heart fell back into my stomach, just as I was about to communicate with him properly. When Ezra H. stood up, he stumbled unsteadily and accidentally kicked over my tomato seedlings. Ezra H. Do you know? I'm just like you. Ezra H. What? I smiled. I hold grudges. In the school infirmary, the school doctor looked at Ezra H.'s bruised foot and pondered. You just said that his foot is naturally like this? I continued to smile innocently. Yes. Ezra H.'s face was even bluer than his foot. After coming out of the school infirmary, Ezra H. said casually, I stepped on your homework. You stepped on my foot. This cancels each other out. You have to be responsible for my Mayan Xiang. Before he finished speaking, I was confused and asked, what did you say I was responsible for? I said my Maya. Whose Maya? What of yours? I stared into Ezra H.'s eyes. We were both silent. The two of us have a total of 200 minds. No one can deceive the other. Although I was furious and scolding people that night, it was obvious that his 2 pots of green plants were already on their last legs. The cactus was clearly losing thorns, and it could be seen that there was a small area of root rot. Not to mention the succulent. It was wilted and on the verge of death. If Ezra H. didn't intentionally let them fend for themselves, then he is a plant killer. Which normal person names their cactus Maya and their succulent Xiang? This guy kicked over my final project. My credits are in jeopardy. Now he actually wants to blackmail me. No way. Whether you are the school bully or a turtle, if I'm on the verge of failing, I'm your father. At this moment, my heart is as cold as someone who has been killing fish at our TMR for 10 years. Let everything be destroyed. Probably because my mental state seemed too dangerous. Ezra H. didn't say anything else. At night, I lay in bed constantly thinking about my little tomatoes. In the afternoon, I replanted the trampled tomato. I don't know how it is now. The more I thought about it, the more worried I became. Since I couldn't sleep anyway, I put on my clothes and went to my vegetable plot. Who could have thought? Before I even reached the place, from a distance, I saw a figure squatting in front of the little tomatoes and seemed to be reaching out to do something. My pupils dilated. I angrily shouted, "Die!" Then I kicked over It was the familiar school infirmary again. The school doctor looked at Ezra H's broken leg and was silent again. Is his leg also naturally broken? I nodded halfway, and met Ezra H's gaze. Then I shook my head and said guiltily, I did it. The school doctor looked me up and down twice and teased, oh. Your martial arts skills are quite impressive. It's because I kicked him, and he lost his balance and I sat on his leg. In the end, he patted Ezra H's shoulder with a complicated expression. After treating his leg, he handed him a crutch. I kindly asked, Doctor, is there anything to pay attention to with his leg? The school doctor looked at me sincerely. Just pay attention to you. Me, are you being polite? When I was helping Ezra H out of the infirmary, the dormitory was almost closed. Looking at his leg, my remaining conscience made me ask, that. How about you give me my almaya? I'll see if I can save it. Ezra H pretended not to hear. What did you say? How about you give me my almaya? Who do I give my almaya to? What do I give you? Ezra H shook his injured leg. I was silent. My almaya and Xiang. Okay. Come find me at the entrance of Su Si building after the last class tomorrow morning to get it. After saying that, Ezra H arrogantly leaned half of his body on me and asked me to send him back to the dormitory. This guy is so scheming. If he weighs 140 pounds, 139 pounds are all schemes. He's really good at tricking people. The next morning, Ezra H was waiting early at the entrance of the teaching building. I carefully wrapped the dying cactus and succulent in a bag. Just as I was about to leave, suddenly there was a heavy rain. The big raindrops hit the ground and quickly connected into one piece. I didn't bring an umbrella, and was about to rush back to the dormitory in the rain. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ezra H leaning on a crutch and frowning at the rain curtain, and the classmates around either ran in the rain or shared an umbrella with friends. Ezra H's aloof aura at this moment seemed a bit lonely. I don't know why I empathize with this hot-tempered school bully who often gets into fights. On an impulse, I went to the small supermarket next to me and borrowed the extremely large umbrella at the entrance. Then I carried it and walked up to Ezra H. Let's go. I'll send you back to the dormitory. At that moment, I became the focus of everyone. Ezra H looked at me complicated-ly for a few seconds. Without saying anything, he walked under the umbrella and walked out with me. The rain was getting heavier and heavier. Ezra H limped and seemed to say something. I didn't hear clearly. So I asked, what did you just say? Ezra H. I said you are very special. This sounds. Hiss. Something seems off. I cleared my throat and moved a little farther away from Ezra H. Looking down, I was a bit shy. A huff. Let me say in advance. Don't have any other thoughts about me. I don't like your type. Ezra H was silent. After a long while, he gritted his teeth helplessly. Do I have to say that you are weird before you can understand? I looked at Ezra H, who was half wet because of my distance. And my feelings were complicated. After returning to the dormitory, I checked the condition of the green plants. There was indeed root rot on the cactus. To understand clearly, I had to accept Ezra H's WeChat request and asked him, did you really take good care of your Maya? Soon after, there was a reply from there. Who are you questioning? With such confidence. He shouldn't have raised them like this. Ezra H replied again, I water it 8 times a day. Me, I can see that you are very proud. But don't be proud yet. Watering 8 times a day must be watering the water in his brain. It's not easy to cure. But it's not incurable. I cut off the rotten part and transplanted it again. Now it can only be left to fate. During the recuperation period of Mayan Xiang, Ezra H could send 800 messages a day asking about their conditions. He even forced me to pin his WeChat to the top so that I could receive messages in time. In response, I blocked him. After the cactus grew new roots, I took care of it for another week before returning them to Ezra H. From then on, we were even. On that day, Ezra H didn't say anything. The next day when I went to class, I saw a silk banner hanging on the white wall of the classroom. It read, "Classmate G, I tell his magical hands to bring the dying back to life and save the life of my baby. I specially present this silk banner to express my gratitude." I stood in front of the silk banner and was petrified for a long time. Touched? I dare not move. What the hell is baby's life fruit? What's the difference between this and defecating in the classroom? But the culprit also sent a message. "Have you seen the silk banner I sent? Me, with you. Ezra H. What? Is it your blessing? Me, I'm really convinced." I spoke too soon about being even. This silk banner was photographed and spread all over the gossip website. There were also several boys anonymously asking me if I could cure it. Cure his grandma's leg. This was started by Ezra H. first. For the sake of politeness. I also prepared to return a song to him. At noon the next day, a clear female voice came from the school radio. "The following song is from classmate G. I tell from Modern Agriculture 172 and is dedicated to Ezra H. from the mathematics department." The female voice paused and was still suppressing a laugh. This song is really full of childishness. The song title is called, "Don't Look at Me as Small." Immediately after, the impassioned song spread throughout the campus. "Don't look at me as small. Don't look at me as small. I'm so small that you can't find me. When I appear in front of you, you will be startled. Startled. Voila, you will be so scared that your soul is gone." I lay on the bed, listening to the floating song, and the non-stop notification sounds on my phone. I closed my eyes comfortably. Cool. As the final exams approached, in order to earn activity credits. On Friday night, I went to another campus to participate in club activities. When I came back on the last bus, it was too late. Seeing that it was almost time for the dormitory curfew, I started running as soon as I got off the bus. The school is located in a remote place. At this time, there was no one on the street. As soon as I detoured to the side door of the school, suddenly several people reeking of alcohol staggered over and blocked my way. "Little sister, where did you come back from playing? Don't leave in a hurry. Have a few more drinks with your brothers." That's right. Brothers are the best at caring for people. As one of them was about to grab my hand, I dodged sideways. Looking at these drunkards, I felt extremely disgusted. If you've had too much to drink, quickly find a trash can and automatically classify yourself. Remember to go into the harmful one. After saying that, I was about to leave. The man closest to me rolled up his sleeves and was about to come over. Before I could dodge, I only heard a scream. That person was kicked 1 meter away. I looked back in astonishment and saw Ezra H's gloomy face. He didn't say a word. He grabbed the collar of another person and threw him to the ground. The remaining few people saw that the situation was not good and picked up the two and ran away. Until only me and Ezra H were left on the quiet street. He withdrew his gaze and it fell on me. Seeing me standing there stupidly, he frowned. "Are you okay? Are you stupid?" Me. "It's over." Ezra H frowned. "What's wrong?" "The curfew time is up." Seeing Ezra H not speaking, I teased. "Are you okay? Are you stupid?" He looked over. In a glance, we both couldn't help laughing. I cheerfully patted him on the shoulder. "Let's go. I'll treat you to a luxury hotel." As it turns out, one should not speak too soon. For example, at this moment, I am standing at the front desk of a luxury hotel. However, because I spent too much a few days ago, I can't even afford the money for 2 rooms even if I put all the money from several cards together. It's so embarrassing. I turned and looked at Ezra H sitting on the sofa in the lobby and fell into deep thought. Would it be a bit embarrassing to tell him that I have no money now? The answer is yes. After hesitating for only a moment, an idea came to my mind. I waved to the front desk and whispered, "When he comes to register later, can you say that there is only 1 room left in the entire hotel?" I winked at the front desk lady. The lady had an expression that said, "I understand. No matter what you say later, I will say there is only this 1 room. That's it." "Okay. Very perfect. I turned to call Ezra H. But my head bumped into his chest. Ezra H. didn't know when he was standing behind me. Then he must have heard what I just said to the lady. Wouldn't he know that I have no money? How embarrassing. I secretly observed Ezra H.'s expression. He seems to have no reaction. No, why are his ears red? Whatever. As long as I'm not embarrassed. I originally planned to ask for a double room. Just make do for one night. When I got to the room, I found it was a large bed. That is to say, the large bed is 30 yuan cheaper than the double room. The front desk lady really thought of me. But a large bed is a bit embarrassing. I still have the 30 yuan difference. So I dialed the front desk phone. Hello? We want to change rooms. Sorry. There is only this one room left. Huff. It's me. I want to change rooms. Really? There is only this one room left. That is to say, it doesn't have to be this one room. There is only this one room left. This lady is so stubborn. There's no way. Just make do. Fortunately, there is a sofa besides the bed where I can sleep. Since entering the room, Ezra H. has been sitting stiffly on the sofa without moving. To ease the embarrassment, I offered to sleep on the sofa. After all, this sofa is relatively narrow. It's barely okay for a girl to sleep on. But a boy can't fit. Ezra H. glanced at me and didn't speak. That was the plan. But who could have thought that when I got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and was half asleep, I directly climbed onto the bed. Still thinking about hugging the doll next to me, I hugged Ezra H. from behind like a bear. In an instant, both of us woke up. I reached out and turned on the light. I saw Ezra H. pulling the quilt, looking like he had been bullied. Me, don't be like this. It makes me look like a hooligan. Isn't it? You're talking nonsense. Ezra H. eased and squinted at me. There is only this one room left. Wasn't it on purpose? Damn it. He really heard it. So embarrassing. The atmosphere was a bit awkward for a moment. I was about to climb down the bed. Ezra H. frowned and said, "Just sleep there. This place is big enough. We won't touch each other." Then he added, "If you come over on purpose." It's not necessarily the case. Thinking about the situation just now, I endure. I turned off the light and lay on the same bed with Ezra H. It seemed that there was a galaxy between us. For a while, neither of us could sleep and we could still hear each other turning over. With a turn, we faced each other. Eye to eye. It was extremely awkward. I forced laughed twice. Listen to music? He went along with it. Cough. Okay. So I found my phone and casually clicked on the song I listened to last time. Look at me as small. Don't look at me as small. I'm so small that you can't find me. When I appear in front of you, you will be startled. Startled. Voila, you will be so scared that your soul is gone. The air was suddenly quiet. Ezra H. I quickly turned off the music and made up. This is an accident. In the darkness, I could see Ezra H.'s face turn livid. He propped himself up and suddenly leaned over, staring at me fiercely. Was it on purpose? I swallowed. It's really an accident. I think Ezra H.'s such a big reaction must be because he was hurt by the lyrics. I thought and finally came up with 5 words. Believe in yourself. Ezra H. And next day after returning to school, Ezra H. was a bit strange. I was really a bit afraid of him. Especially at this moment when I saw him standing outside the window in the classroom again with an unpredictable expression. It reminded me of the days when I was held accountable because of Maya and Xiang. The bell rang for the end of class. The students walked out one after another. Ezra H. stood motionless outside the door with his back against the wall. The old professor was twisting his thermos cup. I silently walked up to him and asked, "Teacher, will your wife make dumplings today?" The old professor. I didn't manage to get a meal, so I had to move out. Unexpectedly, Ezra H. stared at me for several seconds and said awkwardly, "Go eat?" I blurted out. Will you treat? Ezra H. was stunned for a moment. I'll treat. Let's go. I walked so fast that I even ignored the fleeting smile at the corner of his mouth. The living expenses after deducting the hotel money were even worse. If someone treats, it's a waste not to eat. I ordered a full plate. At the end, I was a bit full. I took a break and continued eating. Ezra H. sat opposite me and folded his arms and said, "If you can't finish, forget it." What kind of talk is that? If even people from the agricultural college waste food, then who can be expected to cherish it? Ezra H. didn't speak. Several boys in jerseys passed by, carrying their meal trays and preparing to go to the recycling area. When they passed by Ezra H., they all greeted him and called him Brother Yan. Ezra H. glanced at them and frowned. Have you finished eating? Huh? There was more or less some left on their trays. Ezra H. pointed at the slogan on the wall. Can't you see cherish food? Finish eating and go. Okay. Watching those boys sit down again and eat obediently, I subconsciously looked at Ezra H. opposite me. I saw him lift his chin and raise his eyebrows at me, like a child asking for praise. Somehow, it was a bit cute. After eating, Ezra H. asked me if I still had to go to the East Campus today. I nodded. Yes. The activity lasts for 2 days. That night, I took the last bus. As soon as I got off, I started running. When I was near the side door, I suddenly felt a little scared. There is no security booth in this place, and there are so many drunkards. Afraid of encountering the same situation as last time, I subconsciously quickened my pace. But unexpectedly, when I reached the side door, I saw a familiar figure squatting under a street lamp. In the hazy yellow light, that person was wearing a baseball cap and holding a cigarette between his fingers. Ezra H. looked up and saw me. He quietly put out the cigarette and got up and walked towards me. I asked, "Why are you here?" Ezra H. casually said, "I came out for something. I didn't expect to see you by chance." After saying that, he walked past me towards the school gate. Seeing me standing there stunned, he turned his head and looked over. There seemed to be a hint of impatience between his brows. "Aren't you leaving? It's over." Am I a masochist? Why is his tone clearly impatient? But my heart skips a beat involuntarily. Half a month before the holidays, the tutor notified us that we would go out for a 1-week practical activity. I inexplicably sent a message to Ezra H. about this. Only after sending the message did I realize why I told him this. Obviously Ezra H. thought the same way and waited for me to continue. I had to force an excuse. That is, I want you to help take care of my little tomatoes. After finally rescuing them, they are almost ripe. I'm afraid there will be an accident again. Ezra H. only replied with an "oh," obviously not taking it seriously. I didn't expect this plant killer to take care of them either. I just found an excuse. But unexpectedly, there really was an accident. On the 3rd night away from school, there was a heavy rain in City A. The forecast estimated it to be the heaviest rainfall of the season. However, just after the rainy season passed some time ago, I had removed the plastic shed of the little tomatoes. What should I do? I contacted my roommate. They were also hopeless and wailed that the wind was too strong. Many people went to cover the plastic film but were blown away. I sighed. These little tomatoes really had a hard life. I couldn't sleep lying on the hotel bed. So I picked up my phone and started browsing. The students of the agricultural college on the confession wall were wailing and crying about their lost homework. Since everyone is in the same situation, I was relieved. Some were even worse off than me. Their homework had already ripened but was washed away by the heavy rain. As I was scrolling, suddenly a post's popularity was rising. It was a photo of a blurry back of a boy covering a plastic film in the wind and rain. The caption read, "Damn. This brother is awesome. He covered it in the rain for an hour. He's the only one who covered it." Although the photo was just a back view, and was taken in the heavy rain, I recognized it at a glance. This was Ezra H. He really was taking good care of my little tomatoes. I dialed Desiree H's phone. It was quickly connected. His voice was a bit lazy. Hello? Huff. It's me. There was a sound of a door closing from there. Immediately after, there was the sound of wind. He must have gone to the balcony. I said, it seems like it's raining quite heavily where you are. He was smug. Don't worry. I covered your tomatoes. It must not be easy to cover in such heavy rain. Right? Che. Who am I? I finished it in 5 minutes. I suppressed a smile. Oh. Suddenly, I heard Desiree H's roommate's voice. Brother Yan. Do you want hot water? You were in the rain for so long today. Ezra H immediately said, drink fart. I didn't get rained on. Me. Alas. A strong Chinese man. In the remaining days of the practical activity, I thought about going back to school every day. I didn't know if I was thinking about the little tomatoes or something else. On the train back to school, I saw a place selling green plants by the roadside. One of the cacti was very beautiful. I bought it. Ezra H helped me take care of the little tomatoes. I had to give something in return. I'm not so stingy. But the bald cactus was a bit ugly. I thought about getting a pot for it. So I simply separated from my tutor and others outside the school. I didn't expect to see Kyuan at the place where I was buying pots. This asshole. Not only did he cheat on my best friend, and have 2 boats at the same time, but he also cheated me out of a lot of money in my best friend's name. If it weren't for scolding him, I wouldn't have been so angry at that time and pulled out the thorns of Ezra H's cactus. All in all, he was the source of evil. At this moment, I stood behind him and watched him hug his new girlfriend, vividly describing the whole process of being PUAED by his ex-girlfriend. That is, my best friend. He also pretended to be generous and said, and her best friend, who farms in the agricultural college. TSK. A farmer has a really bad character. She borrowed a lot of money from me to buy luxury goods, and didn't pay me back in the end. The new girlfriend was very disgusted. Oh my god. How can there be such a person? Kyuan shook his head. Forget it. Just consider it giving to a beggar. Giving to your mom. I slapped him from behind. Kyuan let out a scream, and lay on the ground covering his face. Che. He can really act. Do I have that much strength? The people around looked at me in horror. I looked down. Hey, where's the cactus in my hand? When Ezra H asked me where I was, looking at Kyuan who was pulling out the thorns, I said silently, hospital. Ezra H quickly came over. Seeing Kyuan, he immediately came over and grabbed his collar. Did you hit her? Kyuan pointed to his face with half the thorns pulled out. Big brother. Look clearly. The victim is me. I was so angry that I wanted to rush up and beat him again. You fucking dared to say that. Ezra H considered that there were too many people around and slightly stopped me. Beating people here is not good. Only after I calmed down did he let go and whispered, beating people with a cactus is too harsh. I looked at him pitifully, but this cactus was originally bought for you. Now it's gone. Ezra H was stunned for 2 seconds. He rolled up his sleeves and rushed towards Kyuan. You fucking don't deserve to be hit by my cactus. I stopped him. Beating people here is not good. Ezra H. After exposing Kyuan's true face and getting back the money I was cheated, I was happy and started to be smug again. Let's go. I'll treat you to supper. I really have money this time. Ezra H. This time? When didn't you have money? I forced a laugh. This is not the point. We left the hospital, and were taking a taxi by the side of the road. The wind was a bit strong. I unconsciously shrank my neck. Ezra H casually took off his coat, and threw it to me. Hold it for me. Me. So you're being duplicitous. Men. As soon as I put on the coat, a clear female voice sounded not far away. Ezra H. I looked over following the sound. It was a girl in a long dress, carrying a fashionable bag. At first glance, she matched Ezra H, who was wearing casual t-shirt very well. And I just coming back from the practical activity. Was carrying a large luggage bag. I was dusty and a bit out of place. The girl familiarly patted Ezra H's shoulder. Long time no see. What's different about me? Ezra H looked her up and down and said expressionlessly, You look more and more like your mom. The girl covered her mouth and smiled. That's right. My mom is so beautiful. I can't lag behind. What I mean is, I'm scared when I see your mom now. Ezra H. If you're always like this, I will really be angry if we get married in the future. Ezra H looked horrified. Can you stop telling horror stories? I still have something to do. I'll leave first. After saying that, Ezra H took my wrist and left. The girl didn't look at me at all throughout. She deliberately ignored my existence. For some reason, I turned my head and looked. Meeting the girl's gaze, she raised her eyebrows at me. It was like a provocation. For the first time, I used the word annoying to describe a girl. I rolled my eyes at her. Ezra H didn't tell me about that girl, and I didn't ask. To my surprise, it was that girl who came to find me first. She found my contact information and asked me to meet her at a coffee shop outside the school. I am Ezra H's fiancée. My name is Fang Yimaya. She folded her arms and looked at me with her chin raised. Me? Oh. I grew up with Ezra H. We had a baby engagement when we were kids. Oh. Ezra H likes me very much. He also has a pot of cactus and named it Maya Maya. Me. Damn it. I can't just say, oh anymore. I didn't listen to what Fang Yimaya said later. It was nothing more than asking me to stay away from Ezra H. If I listen to you, I'll be an idiot. In this day and age, there's still a baby engagement. But it's true that the cactus is named Maya Maya. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Back in the dormitory, I received a message from Ezra H. I didn't reply to several of his messages. Then I saw him send a picture of a cactus. My Maya Maya seems to have a problem again. Doctor, can you take a look? What the hell is Maya Maya? I replied, take care of your Maya Maya yourself. This year's final exams. The college specially invited agricultural experts from outside to grade our final projects. Although my little tomatoes have gone through a lot, fortunately, they matured after a bumpy journey. The agricultural experts were wearing down-to-earth work clothes and walked past our experimental fields one by one. When the leading female professor passed by my field, she stopped and pointed to the sign standing by my field and asked, What is this? I said seriously, it's the name I gave to my little tomatoes. The sign read, Slap Maya Maya hard. The female professor gave me a meaningful look and left without saying anything. At night, while eating in the cafeteria, she directly sat next to me, and I was still gnawing on a chicken leg. The professor looked at me a few times and said, Why did you name the plant? I said perfunctorily, just randomly named it. The professor, you are very similar to my son. He also likes to name plants. Me, really? If your son is like you, he should have good taste. The names he gives should be fresh and refined. Not like something like Mayamire or Xiang Xiang. Yuck. I shook my head in disgust. The professor smiled and didn't speak. Mom. There was a shadow cast in front of me. I looked up and saw Ezra H. This is not the point. The point is, who is he calling Mom? I turned my head stiffly and looked at the professor. She had a half smile. I've heard Ezra H mention you. Gee, I tell. Right? Hello. To formally introduce myself. I am his mother. My name is Cares. She emphasized the word, meow. I was stunned and felt like being struck by lightning. It wasn't until Ezra H pulled me out that I came to my senses. Then I grabbed his sleeve. Wait. What's your dad's name? Lionel. Who the hell names plants after their parents? Ezra H was very matter-of-fact. In our family, there is also a pot of green bamboo at home called Ezra H. My mood was very complicated. Ezra H suddenly asked, I heard you named your little tomato? What's it called? Me. Ezra H. said that he had always been against the baby engagement arranged by his family, after so many years of making a fuss. But the Yan family is also a prominent family locally. Abruptly canceling the engagement would attract criticism. Finally, Professor Cares gave her son a chance. Let the plant killer keep a pot of cactus and a pot of succulent alive for a full year. As long as he succeeds, they will handle the baby engagement. Ezra H. took great pains to take care of them. Seeing that it was almost a year, but I pulled out the thorns and stuck them on the succulent. No wonder he threatened to stick the succulent thorns on me before. This is understandable now. Vaguely, it seemed that there was something important that I had forgotten. I suddenly remembered. My pupils dilated. I pulled Ezra H. and ran. Didn't you say a few days ago that Maya had a problem? Hurry up and take me to see it. Ezra H. pulled me back. Without noticing, I bumped right into his arms. Ezra H. looked down at me. I lied to you. What? The cactus is fine. I just wanted to see you. So I found countless excuses. I was stunned. Ezra H. then persuaded. What about you? Why do you care so much about the name Maya and this person Fangy Maya? Because of what? He stared closely at my eyes as if he was already certain that he had me under control. But I won't. I directly grabbed his collar and stood on tiptoe and kissed the corner of his mouth. Because I have a crush on you. After kissing, I felt a little embarrassed. It seems that normal girls wouldn't do this. Oh no. Will Ezra H. be scared? As I was looking around and was about to say something, Ezra H. suddenly grabbed my neck and then kissed me with a smile. I am already yours. Well, Ezra H. has to be handled like this. My little tomatoes barely passed. But with this appearance and taste, there was no research value. So my tutor asked me to deal with it myself. I wrapped a few and took them to give to Ezra H. When he learned that I gave him the tomatoes I grew myself, he directly threw away his basketball and ran over. For the 3 little tomatoes, he carefully took one. I said, although it doesn't look very good, the taste is okay. Ezra H. ate one bite without even washing it. Someone next to him asked, Brother Yan, are you still going to play? Ezra H. No. I'm eating little tomatoes. The person said oh, and was about to leave but was stopped by Ezra H. Don't you ask me what little tomatoes I'm eating? The person, then what little tomatoes are you eating? Ezra H. showed a lovesick smile. My girlfriend planted them herself. I covered my face silently next to him. Judging by the appearance of these tomatoes, it's really not worthy of praise. A bit embarrassing. On the way back with Ezra H., I happened to meet my roommate. She stared at the last little tomato in Ezra H.'s hand and was shocked. She said, Damn. Gee, I tell. You heartless person. Didn't you say that the tomatoes you planted yourself would be given to your future boyfriend? You didn't give it to me when I asked for it. You just gave it away so easily. Easily? This is not easy. I took Ezra H.'s hand and said, As you can see, boyfriend. Certified.